Today, lessons from a highly successful real estate investor couple. Today on the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show. My name is Mark Dolfini, Landlord Coach and host of the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show. It is really good to be back. I appreciate everyone saying hello, and some of you missed me last week. I was only on a couple days, and there was a few people who were asking where I was at. Well, I went to St. Louis last week, and this is what kind of got in my heart in terms of sharing this story with you guys today. I was in St. Louis last week, and I got to see my coach, this guy named Sean, at he was hosting a speaker training event with some national speakers, national level, regional level speakers. Speakers are just getting started. Some people who just want to learn to speak better in front of a group. And Sean is an amazing guy. He's just a very authentic person. If you know Sean McCloskey, it's kind of hard not to know him. There's a good litmus test in the world. If you know Sean and you don't like him, you probably have a problem. There's probably something wrong with you. So he's a good dude. So I went to St. Louis, and the topic today, of course, is about a highly successful real estate couple, and it's their amazing story. When I first went to St. Louis, I met Sean. I'm thinking, this guy is amazing. If you know nothing else about him, like I said, I described him as 110% authentic. He is who he is. And if you don't like him, there's just obviously something probably wrong with you, because he's a very godly guy, but he doesn't he doesn't jam it down your face. It's like punching birthday cake into your mouth, even though you're like, well, I should like this, but if you're punching birthday cake into my mouth, it's something I'm probably not going to like. But he's just got he's very focused on family. He's very intentional about his relationship with his bride, and he's very strong in his faith. And when I met him, that's just one of the things that I was thinking about, that this guy is just amazing. He's just truly amazing and very impressive with his faith and his relationship with his gal. So it was, at the time when I met him, my marriage was a complete and total mess. I mean, I wanted a marriage like he had. And I'm looking at this and watching this guy have this relationship that I didn't think it was even possible. And I'm looking at not only just his success in his marriage, but his success in business, his success with his children, just watching all this in terms of who he was, and everything he seemed to touch turned to gold. At the time, my marriage was a complete and total disaster. This is when I first met him. And Jen and I, we literally fought about everything. I mean, we fought, and we were that Facebook couple that everybody was like, oh, you guys are cute. But on the backside of that, we fought about money. We fought about respect. I didn't feel like she respected me. And, of course, every married couple fights about intimacy. We just fought about everything. And people who knew me, they knew that something was off. And the people who didn't know me just thought I was a complete and total douche, and rightfully so, because I was not in a good place and I was not a good person. I mean, I just didn't like who I was because of how I was showing up, because of the troubles at home, right? Just things were not good. And no matter how hard we struggled, it just felt like the whole world was against us. Yeah, I swear, if I said green, she would swear up and down that I said burgundy, And our marriage continued to spiral. In part of it, we just didn't have the tools in our toolboxes, but we just started down the road of not honoring our marriage. Both of us. I mean, it was just, we were equally wrong. And we were out doing our own thing and, saying, well, screw it. If she's not going to listen to me on that, then I'm going to go do my own thing, and just justifying bad behavior. And it was just bad. I mean, there's no sense in pointing out who did what to whom. It was just bad all around. So, of course, we started down this road of, well, let's try marital counseling because, I mean, that seemed logical to go down that road. So we had a few sessions with our priest, good guy. He's the one who married us. And he gave us, I felt, some good advice. But it wasn't enough. Like, he was not a full blown marriage counselor. We just decided it was, one of those things. Right. So he said, we really think that the next step for you guys is marriage counseling. And we went to a marriage counselor, someone that I had known in the past, that I had gotten some personal counseling with before, really, really dialed into her. A lot of the things she taught kind of a very, very clinical kind of thing, like in terms of like, hey, if this happens, this is the physiological response you're getting in your body, and this is why you feel this way. And I was like, yeah, I totally need that. Like that, but that did not fit well for Jen at all. And we just, we're just trying all these different things. And things got really, really bad when, here I am trying to run a real estate business. And, I had just published my first book. And, not long after that, we were separated. I'm living at my office. She's living at home. She got fired from her job. So, I mean, things were just awful. So eventually, things got to the point where it just got to the breaking point where we were just really, really, we were not going to make it. And it looked like we were getting ready to call it quits. And I had a couple of really, really ardent, small population of people that were in our corner, and got us going in the right direction. They got us help. And there's no way we could have done it without help. And not to diminish the resolution in this and the solutions to this. We put God right where he needed to be in the relationship, put God first. And not to diminish this, but we learned how to communicate with one another. And then, and not to make light of any one of those two, because those are probably the first two things. And this is what I'm noticing, that where Sean and Jenny, his bride's name is Jenny, where Sean and Jenny, where their relationship was, I was noticing that they had similar thing going on, where God was in their relationship and how they seemed to communicate with one another. But I noticed one other thing, and that was how they invested probably the most valuable resource that they had, and that was their time. Now, it's funny because Jen and I have lunch with each other every single day, like every single weekday. That's the thing that we focus on, so every day, by the time we get home, make lunch and sit down, and she's got to leave to go back to work, 45 minutes each day, Monday through Friday, for the most part. I mean, we might miss a day here or there. Or again, last week I was out of town, but 45 minutes each day, we have lunch with one another. And we sit and we have sandwiches, and we might sit and chit chat about what's going on, or we might talk about, what's going on at work or whatever. But whatever the case may be, we might be sitting there watching a rerun of Law and Order or Criminal Minds or something, right? But that 45 minutes is probably, without a doubt, the most important investment that I could make in my marriage. And the really funny thing is, I had the time. I was time wealthy already. So for those people who are talking about, well, it's easy to do that, when you have a bunch of money and you can spend it on counselors and this and that. But I'm so time weary that, I can't invest that in my marriage. I can't do that. I wish I had the time to do that. Well, here's the thing. I was very fortunate to have the time to do this. Now, not everybody can invest that time to go have lunch with their spouse every day. They're just not able to. They're not able to get a break long enough to have that happen. But the fact of the matter is, here I am, and I'm preaching time wealth all the time. I had the time. I just wasn't using it well at all. And I feel a little stupid, after having written a book called The Time Wealthy Investor, right? And I had a real estate business that was delivering me time. And one of the things that Jen had said to me early on in our relationship is that she never had been with somebody that worked more than he had to. Her words. And at first I kind of wore that like a badge of honor, like, yeah, go me, right? Working more than I have to. Here I am. I'm out here hustling, right? Doing that thing, especially among real estate investors. We know what the real estate hustle looks like, and we know what it sounds like. Again, we almost wear it like a badge of honor. Yeah, look at me out hustling. Look at me getting up at 4 a.m. so I can, make offers and do deals and this and that, right? Work until 10, 11 o'clock at night, out there hustling, doing the deal. But at the end of the day, once I started investing and focusing my time on what really mattered most, because I had a successful business going on and my life was a complete and total shambles. Things were completely falling apart. And again, the people around me knew it, because when I would go to try to be funny or try to be, witty or something like that, it came out very dark. It was not a good side for me. But when I get to be what I am now, because I have everything right in the right order, in the right sequence, in the right places, and focusing my time on the right things, now all of a sudden I can be really intentional, not worry that did I spend enough time with my bride or my sons or anything like that. I mean, I'm still working. I'm still work in process. God's working on me in different ways, but I'm not making this about, God, if that makes you feel weird, then fine. I'm just saying that that's me, right? It works. It's working well for us. But because I'm focusing my area on the right areas, or my intention in the right areas now, I have a marriage that I never thought I would ever have. And when I went to, St. Louis and spent 3 days there, I'm in a room with very highly successful people in business, and some people who are very highly successful in their life, like my coach, Sean. There's a guy there who is who's gotten coaching from this guy named Chuck. And other people like him who are very highly successful. They've run Ironman. They've done all these sorts of business deals. They've done so many things, but they're so well balanced in life because they're focusing on lots of different things. They're focusing their time on what's most important. And what's really amazing is that if you were to look at their vision, if you were to look at what's important to them, I promise you, probably scrolling through Facebook is not anywhere on their vision for their life. That spending 6-7 hours watching television over the weekend per day for some of them is not on their vision for their life. That, going out and whatever it is, that they know is not advancing their life. All it's doing is checking the box so they can turn off their brain for a while, is not on their vision for their life. And that was my biggest takeaway, is I'm looking at these highly successful people and I was like, wow, this is really amazing watching this unfold in this room for people that I saw as highly successful, and seeing what their visions were, and seeing people who I thought were highly successful and peeling back the curtain and seeing what I saw in my own marriage just a few years ago. And I really feel bad for those people, because some of these people won't ever figure it out. I hope that they will. I hope that they are going to start to shift and use their time for the things that are most important to them, but they have to, without defining it first, it's not ever going to happen. So that was my biggest takeaway that I saw from this most amazing couple, that, both Sean, Jenny, and other couples, I'm not going to name them because, I don't know them that well, but the people that I see that were struggling, I hope that they got the message over those last 3 days, from last week in St. Louis, and that whatever they're going to do with their real estate investments, I hope that they're baking in the cake to not worry about so much the money that they're going to be getting, but how much money is going to allow them to buy back their time. So hopefully that point resonates with you, and it's something that you can take and take your investments in your life to a whole other level. That's all I have for today. No fancy quote. I'm just going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks for joining me. If you watch this whole thing, please let me know where you're coming from. I like to hear, I'd like to know that maybe it's getting outside of little old Lafayette, Indiana. All right, everybody, have a great, awesome rest of the day. And please remember, if you don't place a value on your free time, someone else will. But most important, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. Have an awesome rest of the day, and I'll see you next time.